Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever this video finds you. I hope you're having a rad time. I'm the Figure Dude, and today at my desk, I'm going to go through how I apply decals to my figures. Without further ado, let's talk about some figures, dude. Welcome back. Like I said, I'm going to kind of go through today how I apply decals, and it is something that um, when I first started making customs, I thought, whatever, I don't need decals, I'll just paint. And painting is okay. I am a decent painter as far as making painting designs and more intricate things. And a lot of my old customs, I mean, just about all my old customs were strictly paint, where um, I'd paint the design, I'd like draw it on with pencil, I'd paint over it, and I thought things looked okay. But I didn't want my customs to just look okay. So what I started doing was trying to do decals, and I got some decals, um, and it went terribly. I I sucked. There wasn't even like some gray area. It was awful. The only figure I still have in my collection that had decals from like the first time I started trying, I put down the edges with some super glue and then just painted like a pound of Mod Podge over it so that it would stay on. It was not good. I wasn't proud of it. I never tried it again for like 3 years before I started doing it again, kind of like when I started the channel. So I've come a long, long way. I've picked up some tips here and there about how to do decals, about what works best, and I figured I'd share some of that with you guys so that maybe you're in the same spot I was, or you want to make customs, and um, this is a spot where you can, pick up some tips that I took years to pick up. Um, just starting out here, I've got a few of the things that I always have. So I've got my decals here. Where I'm going to do the my ECW Dudley Boys. So I wanted to finish these up for a while. I did get some like custom ordered, um, some custom ordered decals from Curb Stomp. So I've got the Dudley Boys decals, um, and they're the ghost white version. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those specifically once we get to it. But then I've got my micro set. Micro set goes on first. That is the first you put your decal in the water, you throw in your micro set. I've got micro soul, and I'll talk about it more as I go. But micro set, micro soul, you need them. They're awesome. They are life changing. I've got my cup of water for the decal. I do have two different paint brushes that I use, just so that I'm not mixing this micro set and the micro sole. And then um, I've got my tweezers and I've got my Mod Podge there in the background, but that doesn't come in for a while. So what you see here, this is like my decal kit. This is what I need every time I'm applying decals, and I'm telling you, it makes life so much easier. Okay, so getting started here, I do have the Ghost White, like I said, the Ghost White decals. So with these, this is the top ones. They have like the color on them. The rest of the decal is clear. It's just on white paper that you see. So the Ghost White ones, this is all white, which is why it doesn't really pick up on the camera. But I'm gonna put the Ghost White ones, or the white down first. Then I'm gonna take these ones and I'm gonna lay those over top. Next up, so now we're getting to actually applying the decal, but I'm going to cut, and it's not a huge deal with some of these clear decals when they go on. It doesn't matter how closely you cut to the actual print of it, but I'm going to cut out both, and I haven't found like it matters which or like what size I cut these out on, so just kind of cut them close to the design. Just sometimes it's a little easier to lay it down when you cut a little bigger. When you have clear decals, it's not as huge of a deal. So
just kind of cut them however, but then I've got my micro set and my micro sole. Like I said, the set goes on first, the blue one, and the red goes on second to kind of soften it. So I get my decal. I gotta cut it a little more. The first decal we put on is the white one, so that one's gonna go on. And typically, I let these dry a little longer for the sake of the video today. I'm going to just kind of go through it quickly. But the white one is gonna go in, and most of the time you can just like hold on to the decal. I typically, for what works for me, is to just throw it in there. I put on the micro set and I just paint on a little bit, especially on stuff that I've painted. Like, it doesn't take a lot if I've already like sealed it with the sealer and the Mod Podge. Like, it sticks pretty well, so I just put on a little bit. And then like with these clear decals, they go pretty quickly, so you don't have to let them sit forever. um, when you pull it out, make sure you don't lose it in the water. Like, sometimes that happens. Shake off most of the water, and then you can peel it off. So I just like to like poke it off a little bit, and then I can grab it with the tweezers and kind of lay it on. So when you put it on the micro set, especially, like, it'll help you move it around a little bit, but you don't want to move it a ton. Like, once gets on there, since it's soft, it will wrinkle. But then pat it down, get the water off of it, and like I said, I'll use this one to kind of get the water bubbles out, and then typically I'll let it sit for a while and dry, um, so that when I do put on the second one, um, it doesn't get messed up. Like, I don't mess up that bottom one. So I have my micro sole. I'm going to put that on, kind of soften it up a little bit, and then like I said, I'll leave it sit for a little bit, but for the sake of the video today, I'm just going to kind of go through everything, show you how I do it, and then uh, hopefully you can give it a shot too. So I'll just press it down a little bit. Um, like I said, I'm getting the air bubbles out, but you want to be careful because it doesn't just stick. Like, you have to let it dry before it really sticks. You can see here, it went on pretty clean. This one, I chose like a big broad surface, so it'd be easier to kind of show you guys what to do. So I'm going to get my second one here. This is the layer that goes over. So this has the color on it. So especially with this one, like, there's a lot of letters to line up. Um, so having a little more of the like micro, so I'll put on some micro set to kind of help me move things around. But when you're putting the wet decal over the wet decal, it kind of it sticks really well, but that means you have to place it really well too, because you can't move it around as much once you get it on there. So I have mine cut out here. There you go. You can see I've got Dudley Boys. That's just the red outline. Like, the white won't be on there when we take the decal off. Put it in the water. I'm just going to put on a little bit of micro set. Um, I mean, it's my routine. Honestly, I don't even know if it makes a huge difference when I'm applying it over another decal. Like I said, it sticks really well, but it kind of helps me move things around. And since this bottom one is wet, I need to place it well. So, like, once they're kind of stuck together, you're not going to move it around a lot. So I'll grab my tweezers here. I will get this one out, and sometimes I'll like not paying attention, and I will accidentally leave it in too long, and then it like will float off the paper, which isn't the end of the world, but some of them will like curl up on themselves, so you want to monitor that. I just kind of lose focus sometimes, so um, just a heads up. Now, placing it, like I said, is a little bit harder. I've got to get all the letters lined up, and it's preference. Like, I'm not a perfectionist, but I do like to do have it so it looks good, so that I'm not like self-conscious putting it on Instagram, whatever. If you're just practicing, if you're doing stuff just for yourself, like whatever you're happy with. I have to place it a couple times. Like I said, once it's down, it's hard to move around, so I'm just trying to line it up so that it looks good. But then once it's on, I will just kind of press it down, um, and I'll do it very delicately, because it will slide, and like, once they crease on each other or on themselves, it's pretty hard to do. But focus here. You can see it turned out pretty well. It lined up pretty well. So I'm just gonna get the water off, and I'm gonna be very, very careful. I don't press too hard. And these clear ones do stick really well. Sometimes if you'll use one that's got like black background, I've always had more trouble with ones that have a lot of color on them. So it's probably just because there's more color on the actual decal itself. But those ones are a little tougher, so those you can let like sit in the water maybe a little bit longer. But these clear ones like this, the ghost white ones especially that you get from, so this is just from Curb Stomp, but I do use other ones. Like these are fantastic. So if you're just trying to start somewhere, these are a really good start. Um, so I'm going to do the same thing on the back. I'm going to just take a break for a second, let it dry a little bit, and then I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to be very careful so that I don't smudge it because it takes a while to dry. But like I said, I just want to show you guys exactly how I do things. All right, so nearing the end here of like my process, I've got my hair dryer, and I picked this up from 3XR Studio, who I um, paid for his decal library. He has a full library. He makes decals as well, and I was talking to him when he told me that when he like finishes his decals or like he puts them on, he uses a hair dryer to kind of like melt the decal essentially so that it like really fits. And with these flat surfaces, it's not as big of a deal. But when you have like the legs or arms where you've got more of the like cracks and crevices, the hair dryer can like really help like melt it in and get in there so that it sticks well. And it's been game changing for me. So I did like mute I turned the audio off on the hair dryer portion of so that you didn't hear it, but you can't really see a difference. But when you're in person, like you can tell it does make a big difference. So if you are able to use a hair dryer on your decals after you do everything I've just shown you, it can make a world of difference as far as your decals sticking on and just working nice. Okay, so the last thing I do here is just I have Mod Podge. I take a little bit of it. Sometimes I water it down if I'm gonna put a few more layers, but throw it in the paint tray, get a little bit, and then I just paint it over my decal. Just a couple light layers. Typically, I'll also spray over it with matte sealer, but in this instance, I don't want to have to spray the whole figure. And I mean, I don't really play with them. I post stuff around, but I don't play. So one or two layers of Mod Podge over the decals will be good, and then um, I'll be on the way. There, so to just finish up here, you can see the decal on the front. I think it looks beautiful. This is absolutely perfect. Like I said, this is from Curb Stomp Decals. You can reach him there. I will have more videos like this where I'm showing you guys what I do. Just flip on the back so you can see here. But yeah, that's going to be everything. Hope you guys liked it.